famous Geno's Giant, along with regular fries for just 99 cents.
I go for Geno's because I go for good food.
100% Mammy-made family-style meals.
Did you know that many fast food restaurants once thrived before disappearing completely? These chains served iconic meals and built loyal followings, yet they couldn't survive changing trends, competition, or financial troubles.
Sit yourself down at Shoney's for a classic American shrimp dinner. It'll be love at first bite.
Some were ahead of their time, while others simply faded into history. Join us as we look at 25 forgotten fast food restaurants Gen Z has never seen. Wetzel's started in 1959 when Herbert Wettenson visited McDonald's in California and decided to open his own burger chain. The first location popped up in Levittown, New York, and soon Wetzel's was everywhere across the New York metropolitan area, reaching about 70 locations. Their menu was simple but effective. 15-cent burgers and 10-cent fries made them a go-to spot. Their slogans, "Look for the orange circles" and "Buy a bag full," had a familiar ring, similar to McDonald's and White Castle's branding.
What's that? That's a Burrito Supreme. Sour cream, fresh lettuce and tomatoes.
Ooh, I'll have one of those instead.
Burrito Supreme. What's that? Oh, that's a tostada. I have one of those too.
They even had their own version of the Big Mac called the Big W.
It's more than just another hamburger. There are 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, and onions on a sesame seed bun.
To add some fun, mascots Weddy and Sunny entertained customers. By the early 1970s, larger chains like McDonald's and Burger King expanded aggressively, making it hard for Wetzel's to keep up.
The hot dog, not just any old Frank. Nathan's Famous in New York's Coney Island.
In 1975, they merged with Nathan's Famous, shutting down most locations. Sandy's began in 1958 when 4 businessmen from Kewanee, Illinois, Gus Brick Lundberg, Robert C. Winger, Paul White, and W.K. Davidson, decided to create their own fast food chain after a disagreement with McDonald's founder Ray Kroc.
1969 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1, powered by the all-aluminum 427 engine the owner hunted down.
They opened their first restaurant in Peoria, Illinois, adopting a Scottish theme to distinguish themselves. Their menu featured 15-cent hamburgers, 20-cent milkshakes, and 10-cent fries, mirroring McDonald's pricing.
A large pan Hawaiian, a garlic bread, and a Coke. Plus, we'll throw in a chocolate Bavarian dessert.
Sandy stood out by allowing operators to own their own stores and source supplies independently, fostering a sense of ownership among franchisees. Lundberg personally visited each location, building strong relationships with employees. Despite initial success, Sandy's faced financial challenges in the late 60s, particularly with rising cost of television advertising.
It's almost as good as eating. Almost.
Sandy's puts the fun into eating out.
In 1971, they merged with Hardee's, leading most locations to rebrand. By 1979, the last Sandy's in Muscatine, Iowa had become a Hardee's, marking the end of the Sandy's brand. Today, Sandy's exists only in memories and historical records, a testament to a bygone era of fast food innovation. Winkies burst onto the fast food scene in 1962, founded by brothers Harold and Bernard Ehrenstein in Sewickley, Pennsylvania. With its catchy slogan, "Fast food cheap,"
That's not such a big banana.
No, it's a pen, and you can get one free at Winkies when you buy a big wink and a big drink. Come on, I'll race you.
Winkies made a name for itself by offering 15-cent hamburgers, competing directly with McDonald's and other rising chains. Their Big Wink Burger and Ground Rounder were local favorites, drawing in hungry customers across Pennsylvania, Ohio, and West Virginia.
Terrific.
Yep, free turnovers with dinner is just another way Winkies makes you happy to be hungry.
You said it, Frank.
At its peak, Winkies had over 40 locations, but trouble started brewing in the late 70s.
And by 1977, they had a total of 42 restaurants, including throughout Pennsylvania, Western Pennsylvania.
The fast food industry was getting crowded, and Winkies struggled to keep up with larger national brands. By 1982, the company filed for bankruptcy, and one by one, locations shut their doors. Now, Winkies is just a memory for Pittsburgh locals who once enjoyed its affordable, no-frills meals. While the physical restaurants are gone, those who grew up eating Winkies still talk about their burgers with nostalgia. Minnie Pearl's Chicken had all the ingredients for success: a famous country star, a booming fried chicken market, and a rapid expansion plan. Launched in the late 1960s, this franchise aimed to take on Kentucky Fried Chicken, using the name of Grand Ole Opry comedian Minnie Pearl as its brand identity.
Fresh chicken makes the best chicken.
And that we use 11 herbs and spices.
Oh, but that's the Colonel's secret. And special pressure cooking.
So it's always tender and juicy.
At its height, there were over 250 locations across the U.S. However, the company expanded too quickly without proper management, leading to financial instability. Quality control issues and poor franchise oversight made matters worse. By 1973, the business collapsed, leaving behind empty buildings and a failed attempt at a fried chicken empire.
Food aplenty.
What, fried chicken like that?
And of course, plenty of Minnie Pearl's chicken.
Despite its downfall, Minnie Pearl's Chicken remains a curious footnote in fast food history. Today, all that's left are old advertisements, faded restaurant signs, and stories from those who remember its brief but ambitious run. The next restaurant served up comfort food, but instead of fried chicken, it became a roadside favorite for travelers. For road trippers in the 1960s and 70s, Nickerson Farms was a familiar sight along highways across America. The restaurant was designed to cater to travelers, offering classic American meals along with gas stations and gift shops. Founded by Marvin Nickerson, the chain specialized in home-style comfort food and sold honey and other local goods inside each location.
The next 2 weeks, any day, you can have our big T-bone steak dinner at this great low price. That's complete with baked potato and Texas toast.
At its peak, Nickerson Farms had over 60 locations, strategically placed along major interstates. But as time went on, competition from larger convenience chains like Stuckey's and McDonald's took its toll. Rising fuel costs and changes in travel habits also played a role in its decline. By the 1980s, Nickerson Farms had disappeared, leaving behind a handful of abandoned buildings with their distinctive red roofs. Some locations were repurposed into other businesses, but the brand itself faded into highway history. With a name straight out of American history, Yankee Doodle Dandy restaurants tried to bring patriotic charm to fast food in the 70s.
Yankee Doodle Dandy chicken, crispy fried chicken, plump pieces fresh, never frozen, twice dipped in our special seasonings, then deep fried so it's tender.
Featuring red, white, and blue decor, these burger joints served creatively named items like the Yankee Doodle Burger and the Betsy Ross hot dog. The concept was unique, and for a while it worked. Locations popped up across the Midwest and East Coast, drawing in customers with their American-themed branding and affordable menu. However, despite its novelty, Yankee Doodle Dandy couldn't keep up with big-name competitors. By the 1980s, the chain vanished, unable to sustain long-term growth. Today, it exists only in old advertisements and the memories of those who once grabbed a bite at these patriotic fast food spots.
Hey, kiddo.
Me?
Yeah. How about a birthday party at Yankee Doodle Dandy? It's a lot of fun. The gang can even eat from the Yankee Doodle Dandy menu. Hamburgers, Cokes, and fries for just $1 a child.
Some former locations were converted into other restaurants, but the Yankee Doodle Dandy brand is gone for good. Red Barn opened in 1961 in Springfield, Ohio, with a distinctive barn-shaped building that set it apart from other restaurants.
This is the first big burger that really tastes great.
Even the bun tastes better.
That's Red Barn's special bun.
It quickly became a favorite for families and travelers, known for its large portions and affordable meals.
2-piece chicken snack for only $1.59, or a 3-piece chicken dinner for just $1.99 at Red Barn.
We have fresh ideas at Red Barn.
Popular menu items included the Big Barney, Barn Buster, and Red Barn fried chicken. Unlike many restaurants, Red Barn had a mix of drive-in and sit-down dining, offering customers the option to eat inside or take their meals on the go. As its popularity grew, it expanded over 300 locations across the U.S., Canada, and Australia. By the late 1970s, corporate takeovers led to franchise leases expiring, forcing many locations to close. By 1988, Red Barn had vanished entirely. However, a few locations rebranded as The Farm.
Could this be a Red Barn left over? It still looks like a barn.
Nothing's changed.
Keeping its legacy alive for just a little longer. It remains a nostalgic memory for those who once dined there. In 1889, Samuel and William Childs founded Childs Restaurants in New York City, pioneering clean, uniform national dining chains. By the 1920s, it had 125 locations across the U.S. and Canada, serving millions of meals annually. The chain was praised for sanitation and service, but the Great Depression caused financial struggles. In 1929, control shifted from the Childs family, and by 1943, the company filed for bankruptcy reorganization. Though it attempted a comeback, most locations closed by the 1950s. Today, only a few historic buildings, like the Coney Island Boardwalk location, remain as reminders of its past.
Coney Island, Brooklyn, pumped up and excited about this place. And right here is their signature pie. I am super excited about their signature pie. Take a look at this.
Our next forgotten eatery had a name that definitely wouldn't fly today, but in its time, it was a well-known chain. Maxon Lester Graham and his wife, Adelaide, opened Coon Chicken Inn in 1925 in Salt Lake City, Utah. It wasn't just a restaurant. It was a full-blown chain with locations in Seattle, Portland, and Salt Lake City. They served Southern-style fried chicken and comfort dishes. But what really made it stand out, for all the wrong reasons, was its branding.
Coon Chicken Inn, we aim to please. The best 100% Mammy-made family-style meals. You can taste the love.
The restaurant's entrance featured a massive, exaggerated caricature of a black man's face, a design now widely recognized as offensive. Despite criticism, the restaurant stayed in business for several decades, even surviving the Great Depression. The times were changing. The civil rights movement gained momentum, and businesses with racially insensitive branding faced growing backlash.
The Northern Ireland border town was another scene of violence in a black weekend. What started as a peaceful civil rights march turned into a battlefield.
By the 1950s, all Coon Chicken Inn locations had shut down. While the restaurant itself is long gone, its controversial legacy remains a stark reminder of past racial stereotypes in American business history. Burger Chef opened in 1954 in Indianapolis, Indiana, founded by brothers Frank and Donald Thomas. It quickly gained attention for its flame-broiled burgers, a method that set it apart from competitors.
Open wide, America. Burger Chef's got big, juicy, terrific burgers for you. 100% all beef. We really work hard to serve them hot and delicious.
With a simple but effective menu, it introduced the Big Chef and Super Chef, along with a popular Works bar, where customers could add their own toppings. By the 1970s, Burger Chef had over 1,050 locations, making it one of the fastest-growing fast food chains in America.
Gosh, Burger Chef, it's Wolfburger the werewolf. Where can I get delicious burgers? Where can I get fun food? Where, oh where? At Burger Chef.
It was also one of the first chains to introduce kids' meals, inspiring McDonald's to launch the Happy Meal.
Your kids will love McDonald's Happy Meal. It's food and fun in a box. It's a hamburger or cheeseburger, regular-sized fries, regular-sized soft drink, and a McDonaldland cookie sample.
Despite its success, the company faced financial struggles and was sold to Hardee's in 1982. Many locations were rebranded, while others shut down. Now the original Burger Chef is gone, but its influence on fast food innovation remains a part of history. Howard Johnson's began in 1925 as a small soda fountain in Quincy, Massachusetts, founded by Howard Deering Johnson. By the 1960s and 70s, it had grown into America's largest restaurant chain, with over 1,000 locations.
Original roof?
That is the original orange roof, yes it is.
And you have the weather vane up there still.
Yeah.
Known for its orange rooftops, 28 ice cream flavors, and famous fried clams, it became a go-to stop for travelers along highways.
It's the big new soda, our Sunday Supreme. Only at Howard Johnson's. Come by real soon. Get a real taste for yourself.
In 1954, Howard Johnson's expanded into motor lodges, becoming a travel empire. However, rising fast food competition in the 1980s led to its downfall. The company was sold, and locations gradually shut down. Later, the last Howard Johnson's restaurant closed for good, ending nearly a century of American roadside dining history.
Last surviving Howard Johnson's restaurant in America has closed. A few years after New England said goodbye to the iconic chain, the final remaining location was in Lake George, New York.
Druthers began in 1963 as Burger Queen, serving burgers, chicken, and fish in Kentucky.
When I'm about to die for it, burgers or french fries or a salad bar that's everything I want.
I'd rather go to Druthers Restaurant.
To reflect a broader menu, it rebranded as Druthers in 1981 with a new mascot, Queenie Bee. The restaurant became known for its crispy fried chicken, flame-grilled burgers, and breakfast options, attracting families with its casual dining atmosphere. At its height, Druthers had over 170 locations across multiple states. However, by the 1990s, it struggled against growing fast food competitors. The company eventually transitioned, and most locations were converted into Dairy Queens. Though Druthers disappeared from the spotlight, it remains a nostalgic favorite for those who once enjoyed its meals. The Gaslight Cafe opened in 1958 on McDougal Street in Greenwich Village. It quickly became a key spot for the Beat generation and the growing folk music scene.
The Gaslight here is to bring back the essence of the 60s folk and poetry music scene for the people here to experience.
Unlike typical cafes, it was a small basement venue where poets, musicians, and artists performed for close-knit audiences. Bob Dylan, Allen Ginsberg, and Jack Kerouac were among the many icons who graced its stage.
I'm lucky I get to choose. I sink back into my room. I get so sick of it all.
The venue had a raw, underground feel that made it a haven for creative minds. It was a place where political ideas, poetry, and music blended into a cultural movement. By 1971, rising cost and shifting interests caused Gaslight to shut down. The era of intimate coffee house performances was fading, replaced by larger venues and changing music trends. Though the doors closed, its impact on folk music and counterculture remains undeniable. Geno's Hamburgers opened in 1957 in Dundalk, Maryland, and was founded by NFL star Gino Marchetti, Alan Amici, and Joe Campanella. It quickly gained a following with its juicy burgers, crispy fries, and fast service. The star of the menu was the Geno Giant, a double-decker burger that predated McDonald's Big Mac.
Want to see a giant deal? Well, take a look at this. Right now, participating Geno's, you can get the famous Geno's Giant, along with regular fries.
By the 1970s, Geno's had grown to over 350 locations, even expanding across the East Coast. In 1982, the Marriott Corporation took over and began converting locations into Roy Rogers restaurants. One by one, Geno's vanished, and by 1986, the last restaurant had closed. Though long gone, it remains a nostalgic favorite for those who remember its towering burgers and catchy jingle, "Everybody goes to Geno's." Doggy Diner opened in 1948 in Oakland, California, standing out with its giant dachshund mascot wearing a chef's hat. The restaurant specializes in hot dogs, burgers, and fries, offering quick and affordable meals to locals. The diner quickly expanded throughout the Bay Area, becoming a well-known roadside stop.
The Doggy Diners are actually signs. I'm a sign maker, been a sign maker for 30 years. And I know the best people in San Francisco and Oakland, the Bay Area, to do this work.
Its eye-catching signage and casual dining experience made it a hit with families and late-night eaters. People love the classic diner feel and simple, satisfying food. By the 1980s, larger fast food chains like McDonald's and Burger King took over the market.
Corporation like McDonald's and Burger King took over. That used to be the house of Doggy Diner.
Doggy Diner struggled to compete, and in 1986, the last location closed. Though the restaurants are gone, some of the iconic dog head signs still exist, preserved as nostalgic landmarks in California. Atomic Cafe opened in 1946 in Los Angeles' Little Tokyo, serving Japanese-American comfort food. Run by the Matoba family, it was a simple diner in its early years. However, by the 1970s, it became a major hangout for punk rockers, artists, and activists. The restaurant's jukebox was a mix of Japanese pop, jazz, and punk rock, making it a melting pot for cultures and music lovers. Famous patrons included members of the Go-Go's, the Germs, and Black Flag, who saw the cafe as a meeting place for the underground scene. Despite its cultural significance, the restaurant closed in 1989 due to changes in the neighborhood and urban development. Though Atomic Cafe is gone, it remains a key part of punk rock history and the Japanese-American experience in LA. Its legacy still influences modern art and music circles. Next up, a restaurant that represents counterculture, controversy, and creativity until authorities decided they had enough of it. Cafe Frankenstein opened in 1958 in Laguna Beach, California, designed as a creative retreat for poets, painters, and musicians. The founders, artists Bert Schonberg and Doug Myers, along with writer George Clayton Johnson, wanted to create a safe space for the Beat generation.
In 1958, Bert Schonberg, George Clayton Johnson, and Doug Meyer decided that they would open an eclectic cafe.
Unlike most cafes, it had murals of surrealist art, candlelit tables, and a stage for live jazz and folk music. Writers and musicians performed nightly, embracing themes of individualism and rebellion. But the locals weren't fans. The police raided it several times and community pressure made operating difficult. The owners fought hard, but by 1962, the cafe shut down.
Teenagers that were looking in the window, there were scratches in the paint. They attracted some police, and because it was Cafe Frankenstein, they got busted.
The building later became a different business, but Cafe Frankenstein's influence lasted far beyond its 4 years. It stood as a rare haven for creative misfits when mainstream culture just wasn't ready for them. The original Spanish Kitchen opened in 1938 on Beverly Boulevard in Los Angeles, serving some of the city's most popular enchiladas, tamales, and chiles rellenos.
If you want to eat a hamburger in Spain, this is the place to come. It's better than any hamburger I've had in my life. America, get out of here. This is La Kitchen. Where have you been?
It wasn't just another Mexican restaurant. Celebrities and local food lovers alike raved about its authentic dishes. In 1961, without warning, the owners closed the doors and never reopened. Customers showed up to find a locked restaurant, and rumors spread. Some claimed the owners had a falling out, while others believed it had been left untouched as a tribute to its legacy. The most bizarre theory? A ghostly presence kept the restaurant frozen in time. For over 40 years, the interior remained intact, as if waiting for its next customers. In 2005, the building was finally repurposed, ending decades of mystery. The original Spanish Kitchen became a legend of Hollywood's dining scene long after serving its final meal. In December of 1931, the Bernard McFadden Foundation established the Penny Cafeteria at 511 3rd Avenue in New York City during the Great Depression.
They were working side by side basically with their businesses, and if one ran out of something, they'd come to the next one, and then they were willing to give and get, and they understood that they were both small businesses.
This vegetarian eatery offered dishes priced at just 1 cent each, allowing patrons to enjoy a 5-course meal for only 5 cents. The menu featured items like cracked wheat, Scottish oatmeal, lima bean soup, green pea soup, soaked prunes, whole wheat bread, and raisin coffee. Serving between 2,500 to 3,000 customers daily, the cafeteria provided affordable meals to the unemployed.
Of its customers and employees. Penny's All-American Cafe in Pismo Beach has been at its location for 18 years.
Initially planned to operate until May of 1932, it remained open as long as there was demand. The concept was based on a similar initiative McFadden had launched in 1902.
For you, and we are highlighting them for our segment called We're Open in Utah. Danny Roberti is at Penny Ann's Cafe with the measures they're taking to keep people safe.
Such establishments, known as penny restaurants, emerged during economic hardships, offering low-cost meals to those in need. Pup and Taco opened in 1956 in Pasadena, California, offering a unique mix of hot dogs, tacos, and pastrami sandwiches. It stood out by blending American and Mexican fast food, attracting customers with its affordable price and quick service.
How do I know I like it?
Trust me, I found you turtle, didn't I?
But I've never been here before.
Yeah, but I have.
By the 1970s, it had over 100 locations across California and New Mexico, becoming a popular roadside stop. In 1984, Taco Bell purchased 99 locations, absorbing most of the chain. A few independent New Mexico locations remained until 2013, when the brand officially disappeared. Despite its closure, Pumpin' Taco remains a memorable part of fast food history. In 1949, William Tiny Naylor established Tiny Naylor's at Sunset Boulevard and La Brea Avenue in Los Angeles. Designed by architect Douglas Honold, the drive-in featured Googie architecture and car hop service. The menu offered burgers, shakes, and items like corn on the cob and ribs, all made from fresh ingredients. The restaurant became a popular spot for locals and celebrities.
Hi, good morning, beautiful. What do you hear from Gosha?
After Naylor's death in 1959, his son Biff took over operations. The original location closed in 1984 and was demolished. Today, the site is a shopping center. Quo Vadis opened in 1946 at 26 East 63rd Street in New York City. Gino Robusti and Bruno Caravaggi created a restaurant that felt like stepping into old world Italy. Roman columns, Italian mosaics, and red velvet walls made every meal feel like a grand affair. Celebrities and high society flocked to Quo Vadis. Jacqueline Kennedy, Frank Sinatra, Andy Warhol, and Diana Vreeland were regulars. The menu blended French and Italian flavors, with dishes like fondue bruxellois, steak Diane, and bollito misto.
Very light, very flavoursome, bright and fresh. And should there be lots of it left over, by all means, just pack it up and take it to the office and give it to your pals, but I doubt you will have much in it.
In 1968, the New York Times awarded it 4 stars, solidifying its place among the city's finest restaurants. But by the 1980s, business slowed. In 1984, Quo Vadis closed its doors forever. Today, a cigar bar stands in its place, but the memory of this legendary restaurant lives on. Fast food chains come and go, but this next one had a mascot that still turns heads decades after closing. The Great Gritzby's Flying Food Show was a lively, theme-based restaurant chain in the 1970s and 80s. It featured quirky decor, interactive dining, and a menu filled with diverse comfort foods. Unlike standard restaurants, it embraced a fun and theatrical atmosphere, making dining an experience rather than just a meal.
Very light, very flavoursome, bright and fresh. And should there be lots of it left over,
Despite its popularity, the concept failed to maintain long-term success. As novelty-themed restaurants faded, Great Gritzby's locations began shutting down. By the 80s, the brand had completely disappeared. Though long gone, it remains a nostalgic memory for those who experienced its one-of-a-kind dining approach. Dee's Drive-In opened in 1954 in Salt Lake City, Utah. Dee Anderson created a restaurant known for its Dee burgers, shakes, hot dogs, and fries.
Let's Go to Dee's song. If you were here, you probably remember every 19-cent Dee burger. If you were not in Utah in the last 40 years, well, you missed an iconic part of our culture. And
the Clown Marquee became a famous landmark, drawing in families and late-night diners. Dee's quickly expanded over 50 locations and even reached South Africa. Customers loved its fast service and affordable meals. It became a favorite stop for people looking for a quick bite.
The original Dee's was only a drive up. It started out with just ice cream and milkshakes, and then they added sandwiches and built a sit-down patio area, and my husband and I.
But in 1982, Dee's Drive-In was sold to Hardee's. Locations were either converted or closed, and the once popular drive-in is now just a memory of Utah's fast food history. We've covered some legendary restaurants, but this next one sat high above New York, catering only to the city's elite. Toots Shor's restaurant opened in 1940 at 51 West 51st Street in Manhattan and was founded by Bernard Toots Shor. It quickly became one of the most famous hangouts in New York, attracting sports legends, movie stars, and politicians. Some of the regulars included Joe DiMaggio, Frank Sinatra, Marilyn Monroe, and Jackie Gleason. Shor, known for his larger-than-life personality, treated celebrities and everyday customers alike with his signature mix of hospitality and humor. The restaurant's oversized circular bar became a social hub where powerful figures gathered.
21 and Toots Shor. Now, these are the places America reads about, places where the famous in all walks of life gather. But your restaurant, Toots, is unique.
In 1959, Shore sold the lease and moved the restaurant to 33 West 52nd Street. The new location never matched the original success. By 1971, financial struggles forced its closure. Despite disappearing from New York's dining scene, Toots Shor's remains an iconic piece of the city's mid-century social history.